Welcome to the Shadow of History channel. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out more videos like this one. On his 72nd birthday in Princeton, 1951, Albert Einstein finally snaps at the camera's sticks out his tongue and turns annoyance into legend, later ordering cropped prints himself and mailing them out like sly souvenirs. Off Majorca in 1930s, Son Ivan 13 and Alexander 12 Wittgenstein lift their drinks and try on adulthood with cigarettes, as the yacht rocks gently beneath them, proving childhood can drift close to danger. In February 1865, Washington feels the war's last hard winter as Alexander Gardner frames Abraham Lincoln's tired gaze, a face carrying a nation's grief and resolve, before history closes in with its final irreversible page. In 1930s Germany, the rally roars as Adolf Hitler stands beside Galeazzo Ciano and Joachim von Ribbentrop, smiles fixed like masks, and the Girondist crowd's devotion rises like a storm, reminding us how easily spectacle can become fate. In Minnesota, 1908, an Ojibwe fisher stands steady spear, poised above dark water, reading ripples as if they were words, and in that quiet precision lives a whole library of survival and pride. In Times Square, 1944, news of D-Day ignites the streets. Strangers shout and clutch each other under bright signs, and for one breathless moment, the city believes tomorrow can be rewritten by courage. At the Sphinx in Egypt, 1961, Louis and Lucille Armstrong pause between laughter and awe, their love and music echoing across ancient sand, as if jazz itself has come to salute time's oldest guardian. On Lake Lucerne's shore in Switzerland around 1927, Eva and Heinz lean into the clean alpine air there, and small smiles catching the light, and the calm water seems to promise that peace can be real. In Washington, D.C., 1917, proud postal officers pose with brand new autopeds upright and grinning like pioneers, as if a simple scooter could speed the future into their hands and down every sidewalk. In Minsk, June 1941, children watch the sky split open as bombs fall during Operation Barbarossa. Their faces caught between disbelief and habit, and innocence learns in seconds what adults could not prevent. In 1917, daredevil Jamie Reynolds defies common sense with a grin balancing fear and showmanship in public view, and the crowd's gasp becomes part of the act, proving risk can look like glory. In New York at East Houston Street, Nikola Tesla stands in front of a spiraling transformer, coil book in hand, as if science were a spell, and the room hums with tomorrow's electric heartbeat. With a word, gentle hands, Helen Keller greets Charlie Chaplin by feeling his features turning touch into recognition. And in that quiet meeting, the world of silence and the world of laughter share one human truth. In 1972, above France, Jean Boulet pushes a helicopter to 40,280 feet, then rides down on dead engines and lands without power, turning catastrophe into mastery and writing courage in thin air. In the early 1900s, a man cradles his cat close, the animal calm as a secret, and the camera catches their shared trust, reminding us that tenderness often survives where words fail. In Dundee, Scotland, 1915, a jute weaver great-grandmother stands with children work and worry stitched into every posture, yet their eyes hold a stubborn brightness like thread that refuses to break. Nobles Hall, York City, 1949. The butterfly boy spreads handmade wings on a busy street, daring strangers to notice wonder, and for a heartbeat, the gray city softens as if imagination has permission. Around 1930, a young man protests teachers' low pay. His sign, "Blunt as hunger," and the street becomes a classroom where fairness is the lesson, proving some truths must be shouted to be heard. In Union Square, New York, April 1908, boys clutch Easter flowers they've just bought, proud as merchants and hopeful as spring, and their small bouquets brighten the pavement like promises they can't yet explain. In 1898, Pete Wytuck of the Meskwaki faces the camera with steady dignity, a calm that refuses erasure, and the portrait becomes more than an image, it becomes a stand against forgetting. In 1921, Albert Einstein sits with quiet intensity hair, already untamed eyes looking past the room as if chasing a thought, and the photograph freezes a mind that kept moving beyond its frame. In Lisdoonvarna, Ireland, around 1890, a mother and son hold each other close. Weather and hardship written softly on their faces, and still their bond shines, proving love can outlast lean years. Circa 1933, young ladies pose with a friend, laughter barely contained beneath practiced composure, and the camera catches that shimmer of youth when the future feels wide and wonderfully unfinished. In Philadelphia, 1885, Andibai, Joshi K. Okami, and Sabat M. Islambuli stand as medical students firsts from India, Japan, and Ottoman Syria, and their determined faces make progress feel personal. In 1919, the Harlem Hellfighters of the 369th Infantry gather with hard-won pride, Croix de Guerre, earned in France, and their uniforms carry both honor and burden, insisting history remember who fought and bled. Breathe in the cold air. Around 1920 in The Hague, Netherlands bundled students learn through stiff fingers and bright eyes, proving that even winter can't freeze curiosity when a classroom becomes a shelter for stubborn hope. In Harlem, New York City, 1978, a policewoman drops the stern posture and joins the children's game, and suddenly the badge feels like a bridge, reminding everyone that trust begins with a shared laugh. Disguise can't hide convictions. Petersburg, Russia, 1917. Lenin slips into anonymity before fleeing to Finland, every step weighted with risk, and the quiet street becomes the thin line between revolution and capture. The crowd surges like a tide, 1886 New York Harbor. The Statue of Liberty rises into view metal and meaning welded together, and in that unveiling, the skyline gains a promise meant for every stranger. Comedy meets craftsmanship. 1938 on the Blockheads, set Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy hover between takes, faces relaxed, timing precise, and the still image proves even laughter is built from discipline. Listen to the roar of motion, Grand Central Terminal, New York City, 1941. Commuters flow beneath vaulted stone like a human river, and the station stands firm, a cathedral where urgency becomes everyday ritual. Science turns cruel, around 1912, in Urk, Netherlands J. Usasi measures a boy's skull, seeking purest blood, and the tape's cold logic warns how easily curiosity can be weaponized into prejudice. Victory leaves its signature. 1945, Berlin's Reichstag is seized by the Red Army and covered in graffiti, each scrawl a shout from surviving hands, turning a ruined monument into a wall of raw relief. Against all odds, life persists. Circa 1944. In Berlin, a shoe bill from the bombed zoo is tended in a keeper's bathroom, and the strange house guest becomes proof that care can defy chaos. Joy doesn't ask permission. East London in the 1890s, poor children grin with scraped knees and bright cheeks, and their playful swagger tells the world that hardship can't fully silence a happy heart. Hold on tight. Ohio in the 1920s, three friends ride their homemade vehicle wobbling between invention and mischief and the road ahead, feels like theirs alone, daring them to keep going. A Quiet Portrait lands like Thunder Detroit 1954. A Ford factory hand's family meets the lens of a visiting Japanese photographer, and in their steady gaze, you can feel pride, fatigue, and modern life closing in. A Soft Pillow, A Hard Lesson, Netherlands 1933. A boy straps padding to his backside before skating, turning bruises into comedy, and showing how ingenuity often begins with a laugh at falling. Watch the Ocean Become a Chalkboard, 1970 in California. A teacher draws waves in the air with confident hands, and for a moment, science feels like storytelling ending in the calm power of understanding. War's Spoils Gleam Strangely, 2003 in Iraq, AUS. Our Army soldier holds gold bullion heavy as consequence, and the shine forces a question. What does victory mean when it weighs this much? Step inside the Paston, a 1930s airplane. Passengers sit close, dressed for the occasion, as the cabin hums with fragile faith in machinery, and the sky becomes a new kind of everyday frontier. Then the world flashes. White Bikini Atoll 1946. A nuclear test blooms into an impossible cloud, terrifying and mesmerizing, and the photograph freezes the instant humanity proved it could outshine the sun. Smiles are staged, but memories stick. 1950s Easter Bunny photos capture children half delighted, half wary, and the costumed grin feels eternal, reminding us that tradition can be both comfort and strange theater. Dust and worry fill the room, 1938 in Scotts Run, West Virginia. A coal miner's wife and children stand in a company house, and their tired dignity hits hardest like a hymn sung without music. Before the icon hardens, there's the spark, 1988. Tilda Swinton looks unafraid of being different, her presence sharp and curious, and the frame catches the moment a future legend is still becoming. Matching shirts mismatched decades 1970s. Father and son pose in playful TTs, their bond louder than any slogan, and the simple fabric turns into a flag for affection that won't fade. Feel the chill in your palms. Houston, Texas, 1928. The Iceman hauls a 25-pound block to the door, sweat meeting frost, and the job's rhythm reminds us comfort once arrived by muscle. A corner store becomes a lifeline. Harlem, New York, 1940. A community. Grocer stands behind everyday goods, and the portrait honors small business as quiet leadership, the kind that feeds more than stomachs. Curiosity meets innocence. Arizona's Window Rock Navajo Reservation, 1930. A lamb leans toward a baby in a cradleboard, and the gentle approach turns the scene into a blessing of simple trust. A voice waits in Coincide Island in the Bronx, 1980s. A woman grips the payphone receiver, eyes far away, and the moment feels like a cliff edge where one call can change everything. Judgment can be loud without words. Around the 1960s, nuns stare at a fashionable woman, eyes pinned like needles, and the contrast makes a sermon of silence, challenging who gets to define proper. Testing safety. The hard way, London in the 1930s, policemen leap into the Thames wearing life jackets, and the splash turns procedure into spectacle. Proving preparedness is often built from cold water and courage. Endurance becomes intimate, 1930. The Hunter brothers check their engine mid-flight during a 23-day non-stop journey, and the tight space hums with grit as if the sky itself is their workshop. A label can bruise forever, San Diego, 1944, Phyllis J. And Stallnacker's mugshot brands her a weedhead and tramp, and the blunt ink reveals how society once criminalized youth with casual cruelty. Midnight Rebellion in Slippers, 1924. A slumber party of young women drinks, smokes, and dares the rules to notice, and the smoky air feels like freedom, brief but real enough to remember. The 1980s loved a spectacle. 1980, an Easter egg head competition, crowns bold fashion with fearless absurdity, and the winning image proves style can be a shout, not just something you wear. A cigarette becomes a torch. New York, 1929. Edith Lee marches for Torches for Freedom, smoke curling like a banner, and the photograph captures liberation as performance stubborn, public, and unforgettable. The future fits in your hand. 1959. Someone makes a call from a car, a phone half luxury, half science fiction, and the scene whispers that distance is shrinking one expensive ring at a time. Ink and urgency on every corner. New York City, 1967. A newspaper stand piles headlines like weather, and the passerby becomes a reader of the world ending the day with yesterday's truth. Air and sunlight as medicine. Netherlands, 1918. Open-air schooling moves lessons outside, where fresh wind replaces stale rooms, and the image insists that health and learning can share the same sky. Small Hands, Big Hardship, New York. 1933. Boys fish for coins during the Great Depression, eyes scanning water for luck, and their patience turns poverty into a quiet, aching kind of labor. Speed with a Soul, launched in 1906. R.M.S. Mauritania rules the Atlantic by 1907, and in Her. Sleek lines, you can feel an era that believed progress was unstoppable, ending in a wake of ambition. Wonder strikes like lightning. A rare photo shows the real end of a rainbow, and the ordinary ground suddenly feels enchanted, reminding us that the world still keeps secrets for anyone who keeps looking. Child labor wears a tired face. Bluffton, South Carolina, 1900s. A 7-year-old shucks oysters beside her 6-year-old brother, and the boss's words chill the frame, exposing cruelty as routine. Imagine how huge small once was. 1956, a 5-megabyte IBM hard drive fills a box like furniture, and the photo makes modern convenience feel miraculous, ending with the weight of early computing dreams. Down into the city's veins, Brooklyn, 1946, the subway entrance at Eastern Parkway, and Utica. Avenue yawns open, and the stairs promise movement, anonymity, and the pulse of New York below ground. Elephants in Venice. 1950s crowds watch the giants pass through tight streets, and the impossible pairing turns the city into a circus of stone, and wonder-proving reality sometimes enjoys breaking its own rules. Gravity becomes a playground, and Francisco, 1952. Boys sled down a steep sidewalk, shoes skimming sparks of speed, and the hill teaches them fear and freedom in the same breath. Silence can be strategic during World War II. London's National Gallery stands empty after artworks are hidden from Nazis, and the bare walls feel like a vow, showing protection can look like absence. Steel meets celebration. On May 28, 1937, San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge opens, and pedestrians flood the span in awe, ending the day with a simple truth: beauty can be engineered into history. Heat turns the street into a pool. New York City, 1953. Kids cool off however they can, splashing away the day's burden, and the photo closes with summer's timeless promise of relief. A Sip Denied tells a whole story. North Carolina in the 1950s, segregated water fountains stand like silent commands, and the image burns because injustice can be posted as policy. Luxury on rails during the Overland Limited era, 1901 to 1915. Deluxe cars glide between Chicago and Los Angeles, and the polished interiors reveal a time when travel was theater ending in velvet ambition. Dust trails and tired eyes. 1937, migrant children from Oklahoma ride a California highway, and the open road feels less like freedom than necessity, leaving us with the ache of hope on the move. Authority turns theatrical New York City, 1921, Deputy Police Commissioner John A. Leach watches agents pour liquor into a manhole, and the dark stream marks Prohibition's fierce, futile attempt to control desire. Courage sometimes wears a press badge. Little Rock, Arkansas. 1957 journalist Jerry Donnell helps shield Elizabeth Eckford from a hostile crowd, and the moment proves decency can stand firm under hate. Life crowds the frame Mulberry Street, New York, 1900s. Street scenes pulse with vendors, children, and noise, and the photo ends like a held breath, reminding us cities are built from constant motion. All eyes follow her. 1964 Diane Carroll turns heads with effortless poise, and the camera catches confidence as its own kind of power, leaving a glow that outlasts the moment. 4 years can carve a face. Between 1861 and 1865, Abraham Lincoln's features harden under war's weight, and the contrast lands like a punch, proving history isn't only written, it's worn. Rising into the skyline, 1970s, New York shows the World Trade Center under construction, steel skeletons reaching upward, and the scene captures a city betting on the future with every rivet. Before selfie had a name. 1957, a man uses a stick to trigger the camera, leaning into ingenuity, and the playful hack feels timeless, ending with the grin of human creativity. A Night That Cracked an Empire, Berlin, 9 November 1989. The Wall's End begins in hands and hammers, and the photograph freezes liberation, mid-swing, a reminder that barriers can fall loudly. A Child Rides in Style, Berlin, 1931. A bicycle pulls a Watsonian child sidecar, and the odd little setup feels like progress on 2 wheels, ending with the charm of everyday innovation. Saltaire and Swagger, San Francisco, 1901. Sailors gather at the Cliff House, looking out toward the Pacific, and the horizon seems to dare them, closing on the restless pull of the sea. Scale turns Human Egypt, 1865. A man stands atop a colossal Ramesses, the second at Abu Simbel, and the tiny figure against stone makes time feel enormous, ending in awe that borders on humility. Chance becomes policy, Washington, D.C. 1969 draft lottery capsules rattle with birthdays inside, and the simple draw decides futures, ending with the haunting truth that war can begin with a number. Liberation turns intimate, Strasbourg, France. 22nd November 1944. A French woman welcomes an American soldier, and the embrace feels like exhalation after years held tight, ending in the warmth of survival. Even legends need tricks. 1942, Humphrey Bogart's lifts for Casablanca sit quietly, solving a height problem for the camera, and the small shoes remind us illusion is part of movie magic. Paris glows in rare color. 1914, Albert Kahn captures the original Moulin Rouge lights in details vivid, and the scene feels like a world still unaware of what's coming, ending in fragile brilliance. War moves through ordinary rooms, London. 7 November 1939. Christmas parcels are sorted at Mount Pleasant, and the busy hands suggest hope can be packaged, stamped, and sent through uncertainty. Beneath the city, technicians keep voices alive. New York City, 1938 maintenance work on East 30th Street. Telephone switches turn steel and wires into conversation, ending with the quiet miracle of connection. Fairy tales have real faces. 1847 brothers Wilhelm and Jacob Grimm sit as scholars, not storybook wizards, and the portrait reminds us imagination often begins at a desk, ending in human patience. Hands that shape daily life. 1850, a shoemaker leans into his craft leather and tools close by, and the photo honors work that leaves no monuments, only footsteps that keep going. A week's abundance laid out 1947, a housewife poses. Beside $12.50 of groceries, and the neat spread turns budgeting into survival art, ending with the startling power of ordinary arithmetic. Wit off the page. Around 1900, Mark Twain plays pool eyes sharp with mischief, and the cue becomes another kind of pen ending with the sense that humor is a form of intelligence. Water Can't Stop Duty, Buckinghamshire, 1954. A milkman makes deliveries through floodwaters, and the image ends on stubborn routine, reminding us resilience often looks like simply showing up. A Language Meets a Machine. 1903, Horace Watson records Fanny Cochran Smith on an Edison phonograph, and the fragile sound becomes a rescue from silence, ending with history caught on a cylinder. City Poverty in Hard Lines. New York, 1888. Mullins Alley in Cherry Hill narrows into the shadow and crowding, and the photograph leaves you with the claustrophobia of lives stacked too tight. Ancient stone, modern gaze, Persia. Around 1923, Persepolis lies in ruins under open sky, and the fallen columns feel like a warning ending with the quiet endurance of what remains. Two comedians, one industry. Around 1919, Charlie Chaplin and Carter DeHaven stand outside Chaplin Studios, casual yet calculating, and the moment captures Hollywood mid-birth, ending in ambition under bright sun. Propaganda Aims at Hearts, Japan, 1941. Anti-British messaging turns fear into persuasion, and the poster's certainty shows how war recruits minds, first ending with the chill of manufactured belief. Grief Returns to a Hiding Place, 1960. Otto Frank revisits the attic where his family hid, and the empty space speaks louder than words, ending in the unbearable weight of survival. The Uniform Hides the Face. Brooklyn, New York, 1st of July, 1969. An undercover officer blends into the street eyes alert, and the photo ends with a quiet tension, as if trouble is always nearby. Joy Turns to Disappointments. Sweden, 1959. An outdoor hockey game is cut short, skates slowing on ice, and the players' slumped shoulders remind us even fun can be ruled by sudden reality. Lightning Gratitude in a Shattered Italy, 1945. An old woman reaches for an American soldier as if touch could say what words cannot, and in that brief exchange of relief and thanks, liberation becomes suddenly personal and unforgettable. A Single Stare Stops Time at Dachau in 1945. An emaciated 18-year-old Russian girl meets the lens with hollow strength, and the liberation around her can't erase what happened, leaving us with a truth that refuses to soften. One Flower, One Crack in History. Berlin, 1989. An East German soldier slips a bloom through the wall, and the gesture travels farther than any speech, ending as a quiet promise that concrete cannot hold forever. Rebellion Hides in Plain Sight. Hungary, 1956. An anti-communist revolutionary keeps a Molotov cocktail tucked behind his back, calm as a shadow and the stillness before. Action feels like the loudest moment of all. Resistance Wears a Strange Name. Around 1921, the Knights of the Invisible Jungle of the Tigers, I stand against the KKK, and their presence proves that courage can be playful and fierce, ending in defiance that won't bow. Step into the underworld, New York, 1888. Bandits Roost traps a narrow alley where danger poses comfortably, and Jacob Riis shows how poverty and menace can share the same doorstep, ending with a street that watches back. The city smolders like a warnings, and Francisco, 1906. Market Street stretches through ruins after quake and fire, And from the ferry building tower, you feel a civilization reset to ash ending in silence that feels unreal. Summer turns survival into sport New York City. 1946 people chase shade and water with laughing desperation, and Todd Webb catches the heat in their faces, ending with the simple victory of staying cool one more day. A portrait made of Bodies Camp Sherman, Ohio, 1918, 21,000 soldiers form Woodrow Wilson's face with military precision, and the image feels both awe-inspiring and unsettling ending as unity shaped into propaganda. Before the presidency, just a circle of friends, 1979 Barack Obama stands with the Choom Gang, youthful and unguarded, and the snapshot reminds us how ordinary moments can echo loudly decades later. Saltaire, sunlit East France around 1920, a young woman relaxes at the beach as if the world has nowhere urgent to be, and the scene ends with the timeless glow of freedom found in simple leisure. A river with a different. Future Griffith Park, Los Angeles, circa 1898 to 1910. The waterway lies open and natural, and the calm landscape hints at a city still becoming itself, ending in quiet before the sprawl. Strength wrapped in tenderness, Saudi Arabia, 1948. A Bedouin mother holds her child with steady grace, and the desert light turns everyday care into something monumental, ending with love that outlasts hardship. Homefront warmth on a fragile morning, Cincinnati, 1943. A Greyhound driver's wife serves Sunday breakfast to her children, cups and pastries neatly set, and the ordinary ritual becomes a soft shield against wartime worry. Wash day under open sky, Morganza, Louisiana, 1938. A farmer's wife scrubs clothes in a metal tub while watching her barefoot son, and the scene ends with the quiet truth that work and love often happen together. Color blooms on the sidewalk, London, 1967. A young mother pushes a boldly patterned pram through the street, and the swirling design feels like optimism on wheels, ending with a decade's confidence rolling forward. Judgment can be measured in inches. Hounslow, London, 1930. A policeman officiates an ankle competition with serious eyes, and the crowd's curiosity turns bodies into spectacle, ending in the odd theater of fashion. Love formal and unhurried, sometime in the 1850s a couple holds still for the camera, expressions composed like vows, and the portrait ends as a reminder that intimacy can be preserved in patience. The first drive into tomorrow, 1896, Henry Ford guides his early automobile forward, part machine and part gamble, and the moment ends with the sense that modern life is starting to roll, whether we're ready or not. Timber sweat and long days. Sherwood Logging Camp, 1,900 men stand amid cut wood and rough tools, and the air feels heavy with labor, ending with a quiet respect for work that reshaped whole landscapes. A crossroads of fuel and gossip. 1940s, a Texaco station paired with a general store and post office anchors. The road and the scene ends as a portrait of small-town America running on conversation and gasoline. Touching the sky with bare confidence, New York, 1931, a steelworker reaches toward the Chrysler Building's tip during the Empire State's rise, and the photograph ends with a vertigo that feels like human ambition. Fists fly above the street. 1938 women box on a rooftop wind and skyline framing their grit, and the scene ends by proving strength isn't borrowed from anyone. It's claimed punch by punch. Fashion as a public performance. Longchamp, Paris, 1919. Women wear the latest style with practiced pride, and the crowd becomes a runway, ending with elegance that feels like a nation exhaling after war. Chrome, charisma, and longing, Paris, 1960. Johnny Halliday admires a Bizzarini 5300 GT as if it were a dream you can touch, and the scene ends with speed shining like a promise. A cabin holds a whole world. 1899 rough boards and simple furnishings frame a life built from scarcity, and the stillness ends with the feeling that endurance can be quietly beautiful. Before the fame, just a teenager, 1988 high school senior, Matthew McConaughey faces the camera with casual confidence, and the image ends like a preview, a life about to step onto a much bigger stage. A familiar face before it became a symbol. 1970s Pee Wee Herman in high school looks both earnest and mischievous, and the snapshot ends by reminding us that personas often begin as private jokes. A Partnership in Motion 1930, a police officer and his dog ride a motorcycle balanced and alert, and the scene ends with the odd comfort that even authority can have a loyal heartbeat beside it. Adventure gets a uniform. Disneyland 1959, Matterhorn climbers pose like mountain heroes on a manufactured peak, and the moment ends with the magic trick believing is part of the ride. A New Dance for a New Age London 1950, robot dancer moves in crisp angles, and the crowd watches the future performed by a human body, ending with joy that feels oddly mechanical. A town pauses for the Camaralampasas, Texas. Late 1800s or early 1900s, faces gather in their best seriousness, and the image ends with a simple truth: history is made of ordinary neighbors. A plane glides where roads shouldn't go. Idlewild Airport, Queens. 1950s, a Pan Am Stratocruiser taxis on an overpass like a floating building, and the scene ends with travel feeling suddenly limitless. Aisles of plenty, choices of identity. 1960s, women grocery shop among bright packaging and new conveniences, and the everyday errand ends as a quiet marker of prosperity, habit, and changing roles. Royal power in one frame. London, May 20th, 1910. The 9 kings of Europe gather for a funeral photograph, and the image ends with irony: an entire old order, posing just before it begins to crack. A fallen star under harsh light. 1999, Robert Downey Jr. Is photographed after sentencing, and the face carries both consequences and possibility, ending with the uneasy hope that rock bottom can still be a turning point. A grim tableau before death. Bolivia 9, October 1967. CIA agent Felix Rodriguez and soldiers pose with Che Guevara, and the moment ends in cold finality, reminding us how history can be staged in seconds. Neon's early promise. Las Vegas, 1955. The strip stretches out more complete each year, and the scene ends with a city that sells dreams by the mile, glowing against the desert's dark. A temple of knowledge now gone. Cincinnati's old public library before 1955 shelters a man browsing shelves as if time is abundant, and the image ends with loss, a world demolished into parking spaces. A man who changed his own. Story. Oskar Schindler stands as a symbol of transformation, moving from prophet to rescue during the Holocaust, and the narrative ends with a hard mercy: one person can save many. Records rewritten by sweat and will for women athletes force doors open with speed, strength, and stubborn excellence, and the moment ends as a reminder that greatness isn't granted, it's earned in public again and again. A pile of circles, a mountain of absence. Around 1945 wedding rings taken from Holocaust victims sit stripped of names, and the image ends with a silence so heavy it feels louder than any scream. Joy that breaks the script. China, 1901, the happiest man grins and poses while anthropologists expect solemnity, and the photo ends as a small rebellion, laughter refusing to be studied like a specimen. Cameras become shields. 1931, mobsters hide their faces at Al Capone's trial, and the scene ends with a lesson, even the powerful fear being seen clearly. The gates open on Horror Auschwitz is discovered and liberated in 1945 by the Red Army, and the moment ends with a terrible clarity. Some truths must be witnessed because forgetting would finish the crime. A sleek dream rolls into a ballroom, New York City, January 17, 1953. Chevrolet introduces the two-seat Corvette at the Waldorf Astoria, and the scene ends with America falling in love with speed as style. An iron warship at Peace, Washington, D.C. Around November 1865, the former CSS Stonewall sits anchored on the Potomac, and the Stillwater ends the story with a quiet verdict: rebellion has run out of steam. A new marriage, a new chapter. 1968. Jacqueline Kennedy weds Aristotle, Onassis, and the moment ends with the world watching, reminded that private grief and public fascination often collide. Old Empire meets new tyranny. Doorn, Netherlands, May 1940. Former Emperor Wilhelm II appears behind Hitler's Wehrmacht, and the image ends with history's bitter layering, one collapse making room for another. In an antique store, time whispers, an unlabeled find waits for its era to be named, and the scene ends with the thrill of mystery. Every object is a clue begging for a story. One doctor stops a disaster. 1962, Francis Oldham. Kelsey receives a presidential award from John F. Kennedy, and the moment ends with gratitude for quiet vigilance that protected countless lives. A beetle of the sky, France, 1958. The Snexma EC450 Coleoptere stands like science fiction made metal, and the scene ends with daring invention balanced on the edge of practicality. Better to sink your own fleet. Toulon, France, November 27, 1942. Ships are scuttled to avoid German capture, and the image ends with a harsh truth. Sometimes survival demands sacrifice. Peace carried like a fragile box. Versailles, 1919. A French official holds a treaty at the palace entrance, and the moment ends with uneasy hope, as if paper could hold back future fire. A funeral under occupation. Warsaw, February 1944. The procession for Franz Kuchera moves through streets shadowed by resistance, and the scene ends with tension thick enough to taste. Streets remember even when faces change. Lublin, Poland, 1950s. A funeral procession flows down Ruska Street, and the image ends with the steady truth that communities carry grief together. Into the winter woods near Street. Veith, Belgium, 23 January 1945. Guys advance through trees and snow, and the scene ends with the exhaustion of duty, step after heavy step. A daughter dances on the table. Russia, early 1990s. Galina Brezhneva turns a home holiday into spectacle, and the scene ends with a flicker of rebellion inside the ruins of old certainty. Mission Control holds its breath. Houston, April 13, 1970. Gene Kranz watches Apollo 13's crisis unfold, and the image ends with the fierce calm that makes survival possible. Fear can be methodical. New York, 1940s to 1957. Bomber George Metesky becomes a face behind 33 explosions, and the portrait ends with uneased danger is sometimes painfully ordinary. A dictator in Church, Berlin, May 1935. Adolf Hitler attends a ceremony for Josef Pilsudski, and the scene ends with chilling contrast, solemn ritual beside looming violence. Neutrality in the middle of War-Hønefoss, Norway, May 1940. German Red Cross cars wait to transport wounded from both sides, and the image ends with a rare glimpse of compassion threading through conflict. Cold bites harder than steel. On the Eastern Front, German motorcyclists ride through winter faces, wrapped and rigid, and the scene ends with the brutal reminder that nature is also an enemy. Capture freezes bravado, 1943, near Nicosia. Robert Capa photographs a German soldier taken by American troops, and the image ends with a human face caught between fear and surrender. Desecration as message near Leningrad, 1941. A German soldier defiles a Lenin statue, and the scene ends with the ugliness of domination performed. For the camera. Laughter beside sacrilege, occupied Lithuania, 1941. Soldiers and auxiliary police grin with a looted Torah as a synagogue burns, and the scene ends with a sickening truth. Cruelty can celebrate itself. Boots on the Move, Belgium, 1940. German soldiers march in tight formation, and the image ends with inevitability, as if momentum alone could justify invasion. An American official becomes a citizen. Philippines, 1913, Governor General Francis B. Harrison stands as a rare bridge between rulers and ruled, and the scene ends with the complicated hope of belonging. Water for a Growing City, Los Angeles, November 5, 1913. The aqueduct's grand opening celebrates engineering's triumph, and the moment ends with a question: what will this new lifeline demand in return? A Young Democracy in Suits, Australia, 1901. Newly elected Labour MPs pose for an inaugural photograph, and the scene ends with the earnest belief that government can still be shaped by ordinary people. A chimpanzee enters the space age, 1960. Ham is strapped into a test machine, small body held by big plans, and the image ends with a mixed Marvel progress carried on someone else's risk. Lutevret Alvarez is photographed beside a North Vietnamese prison guard during his captivity in 1967, enduring years of brutal imprisonment that made him the second longest held American POW in history. Pilot Andrew Turner sits inside his Piat 51 Mustang cockpit in Italy during 1944 after flying many dangerous missions, his weathered expression revealing the intense stress and courage required for aerial combat. An American soldier carries his girlfriend's photos in his helmet band at Q Chi, Vietnam in 1968, keeping loved ones close during the frightening realities of jungle warfare far from home. American soldiers of the 75th Infantry Division marched through the snowy Ardennes forest in 1944, pushing through brutal winter conditions during the desperate Battle of the Bulge that tested their endurance. 18-year-old Ernest Hemingway served during World War I in Milan in 1918, experiencing combat that would profoundly influence his legendary literary career and lifelong fascination with war and courage. An East German soldier passes a flower through the Berlin Wall before its fall in 1989, offering a simple gesture of hope and humanity that symbolized the coming end of division. An Essex farmer paints cows with white stripes during the 1939 wartime blackout, helping motorists avoid collisions with livestock on darkened roads when lights were extinguished to prevent enemy bombing targeting. An Ethiopian intellectual sits proudly outside his home in this 1924 portrait, representing the nation's educated class during an era when Ethiopia stood as Africa's sole independent state, resisting European colonization. Andrew Bonar Law inspects a young troop group at Kew, London in 1937, fulfilling ceremonial duties as elder statesman years after serving as Britain's wartime Prime Minister during World War I's darkest hours. André Rabusa's Brazilian engineer and abolitionist was photographed while visiting Paris in 1868, spending time abroad as an accomplished professional fighting against slavery in his homeland from afar. Animals were used as supportive therapy treatment for patients in hospitals during 1956, providing emotional comfort and connection that pioneering healthcare workers recognized as beneficial to recovery and mental well-being.